The look on Karen Morrison's face when she saw that tank in my driveway, that's the moment I knew I'd finally hit her where it hurt. I mean, you threatened to tow my RV, you better be ready for a little escalation, right? The whole neighborhood saw it too. Her standing there in her fuzzy pink robe, coffee halfway to her lips, just frozen. That video's got almost 6 million views now, but trust me, the story's even better than the clip. I'm Logan Renier, and 5 years ago, I picked this house in Maplewood Ridge for one reason: no HOA headaches. Or so I thought. I'd spent 20 years in the Army, earned my peace and quiet. My weekends were supposed to be grilling on the patio, maybe taking my decked-out RV for a spin with my wife. It wasn't some jalopy either. I'd built that thing to be part fortress, part home, all legal and registered. But then Maplewood got redistricted, and suddenly Karen Morrison, queen of the HOA, started marching around like a one-woman army with a clipboard. She'd never been elected. She just sort of slid into the job, you know? Her first polite letter about my RV barely made me blink. But the fines piled up quick, $100, then $500 a day, like she wanted to see if she could make me blink. Next thing I know, my mailbox is full of anonymous noise complaints, even flag violations. Karen wanted to play dirty, so I tried to talk sense into her. I walked up with all the paperwork, showed her my RV was legal, bylaws weren't even updated yet. She gave me that tight, fake smile and told me, "We'll see what the board says." That's when I realized this wasn't about rules. This was personal. I called my old Army buddy Greg, who's a lawyer now. He laughed for 10 straight minutes, told me, "They can't touch you. Not until new bylaws are ratified. And even then, only with a court order." But honestly, I didn't want to just win. I wanted her to remember it. That's when I saw it. A decommissioned M1 Abrams tank at a military surplus auction. Engine gutted. Turret welded shut. But it was real. I thought, if you want compliance, I'll give you compliance. The day Karen's 72-hour final notice expired, a crane lowered that 68-ton beast right where my RV had been. You should have seen her jaw drop. She stormed over, screaming about property values and weapons of war. I handed her the documents, everything legal, property art, city zoning approval. That night, I sat on the turret with a lawn chair and a beer, my wife laughing until she cried. Next morning, neighborhood went dead quiet. Nobody mowing, no kids, just Karen on her porch, barking into a walkie-talkie like she was coordinating a SWAT raid. 10 a.m. sharp, a police car pulls up. Karen charges out, folder in hand, yelling, "Arrest him! He's threatening the neighborhood!" One officer, turns out I trained her unit years ago, takes one look at me and grins. She checks my paperwork, tells Karen, "Ma'am, this tank's safer than your Prius." Karen just shrieked, stormed inside. By noon, the video was everywhere. People started taking selfies with the tank. Some called me a genius. Others wanted me out. Karen? She called an emergency HOA meeting. Flyers in every mailbox, all caps, mandatory. I showed up just to watch her squirm. She stood at the front like she was giving a State of the Union. But as soon as she tried to ban military hardware, The crowd turned. Mrs. Campbell, whose husband served, said, "That tank makes me feel safe. At least it never trespassed on my lawn." Then Mr. Chen thanked me for helping during last winter's blackout. Even her own vice president quit, called her out for never holding a real vote. Karen's eyes looked like they might pop out. The next morning, a flatbed tow truck rumbled in at dawn. Karen trying one last desperate move. The driver took one look at the tank, shook his head, and left. That's when the anonymous emails showed up in my mailbox. Turns out Karen had faked board approvals, enforced rules she invented herself. I handed those straight to Greg, who grinned like a kid on Christmas. The cherry on top. Karen got caught on my security cam sneaking onto my property at 3 a.m. with bolt cutters, trying to dig up evidence. I watched from my window, hit the intercom, and told her, "Karen, you're trespassing on federal surplus." She tumbled off the tank. Police showed up 10 minutes later. That footage was gold. Karen tried to fine me for community distress, so I paid every penny, in pennies, dropped them off at the HOA office in a wheelbarrow. The local news picked up the story, and by then, the whole HOA board was jumping ship. Karen's last stand was a lawsuit. She claimed the tank was hostile exhibitionism and damaged property values. The courtroom was packed. Neighbors, media, the works. Her lawyer rambled on about neighborhood standards. Then Greg stood up, cool as ever, and handed over every document, every email, and the video of Karen trespassing. The judge didn't even hesitate, dismissed her case, hinted Karen might face real charges, and told the HOA to fix its mess. Karen just sat there, staring at her shoes, finally out of moves. Me? I walked out into the sunlight, coffee in hand, neighbors clapping me on the back. The tank still sits in my driveway. A monument to standing your ground when petty power goes too far. So, you tell Maui, was that justice or just one hell of a comeback?